Something in my eye. Hey guys, we're gonna wait 2 seconds for someone to come on and for me to get whatever is in my eye out, and I hope you can hear us. Can someone confirm with us when you get on here that you can hear us, because you're sitting in a little spot right now right by the air conditioner, so you might not be able to. So I just want to make sure before we start talking that someone can hear us, so let me know. But hi everybody, we are on our way down to handle a few things for all the stuff coming up. I'm very excited. If you haven't already heard from my crazy self, that I'm opening a studio, so we're like always in the car, as you know. Oh, something like that. We wanted to make another trafficking awareness video. We haven't made one in a while, and you know, it's about that time, right? With everything going on the news, you know, everybody on here is saying what is coming out, and usually it's pretty hard for me to make videos because the truth of things really gets hard to talk about, put out there, especially when a lot of people don't not want to listen, but so much in a way that being uneducated kind of, what am I trying to say?
There's a lot of people that, there's a group of people that...
Can y'all hear us? There's somebody that just came on. Can you confirm that y'all can hear us? Just give us a thumbs up. If you can't hear us, can you give us a thumbs down? Can you hear me? Anybody? Somebody give us... No?
We're not talking though, so...
Yes. Yes, thank you, Billy. You're awesome.
Okay. So there's groups of people that have no clue that trafficking is happening in the United States and how horrible it is. There's people that have a head knowledge of it, but they haven't connected the dots, because, and you can tell those people because there's an awareness.
Yeah, there's a different response.
But when you connected the dots, it's like a gut punch to the stomach when you realize everything that's actually happening and going on. And like a couple days ago, they came out with the Wayfair thing, the kids being trafficked online, and the pictures embedded. So we were going to talk about some of those things and things to look out for. If you guys have any questions ever, ask me.
I don't care how crazy they sound. Honestly, we were just talking about, like, last year, everybody was like, your seatbelt. And I'm like, guys, we go through so much crazy stuff that honestly our seatbelt is not our worries. We have it on. Not saying we don't. But, but like, if you feel like the question may be too crazy, maybe too blunt, maybe too wild, maybe too sound psycho, that's the best question you can ask. And honestly, the truth of everything that is going on is not sugar-coated, as you can see. And that's what makes things so hard. I've been asked, you know, am I from a different country? I'm so pretty because I was trafficked, or, you know, like really weird, crazy things that some people just think that this is like a sugar daddy type of basis, and that you're going to get something fun out of it. And I mean, if you come up missing, it's because you're with your sugar daddy, and that's literally not what it is. So you know, the videos that I have made before, I've really wanted to try to like put it out there, but it's just like I said, it's just really hard. So, you know, it helps. Questions help, and people that want to listen really, really help. So,
all right, start with when I first met you, before you lived with me, when you came to the house, and the things that were in the car. These are things that it's hard to, like, I try to tell you guys as much. When something happens, I'm like, oh, I need to let people know about that. But unless you specifically ask me, it's kind of hard for me to like think to put it all out there. But with the Wayfair thing, and with Ghislaine Maxwell getting arrested, they're looking for things for her. They're looking for traffickers keep files and folders and DNA samples of every single kid. They have documented hard copies of these things. And with Ghislaine, they're still looking for those things. So those are things you guys need to be paying attention for in the news when it comes up. Go ahead and explain a little bit more about that.
Another thing is, on here, if somebody feels like, can I come on here and talk to you? We can bring you guys on camera, just let you know. But yeah, well, when 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 I was with a guy named Keith when I was about 15. I kind of went into high escort services around then, and there was this one time where, you know, I was in charge of driving cars. I've been driving since I was about 9-10 years old. So yeah, I'm short, but I can drive. So when I say that things are not what they seem, trust and believe they're not what they seem. When I was with this guy, at one point,
he was a handler.
Yes, handler. Yeah. When I was with the handler, he had a truck that he wanted me to drive from one place to another, and I took it to my mom's house because I was at a point where I was kind of scared. I just did a drop to New Juarez, Mexico. When I say kennels all the time, now you guys understand what I say by kennels. If you're watching closely about everything that's going on, when I say kennels, I mean those shipping containers. Those are what they call kennels, or your room, or your lockdown. I was supposed to take this car to one place to another, and it was full of ledgers, DNA samples,
Tell me what
syringes.
you mean by ledgers.
Ledgers. These ledgers, so, you know, like this book that I have right here has every dance and all kind of things that I've ever done in it. Imagine if I'm just going to use my dance as an example. If I had dancers and I kept a note of every single dancer that I've ever been in contact with, what dance we did, where we did it, who's their parent, what's their name, and what's their real name. A lot of victims, you end up with about 1,000 names. And the reason why they tell you to answer by those different names is because they need you to move things from one place to another, and they need to make sure that you're following, that you're not the person that you are anymore. You're somebody else that you're working for. So, like I said, the ledgers have everything in them. So hard copies, and I mean there's books. So there's books that you see and there's books that you don't see. Those books that you don't see are usually kept on the handlers. They're kept in files, they're kept in USB drives, and they're kept in secret places. Now what I did was became very smart when I went into New Mexico Juarez. I was put into a shipping container. I was chained to some of my friends. I was around girls who were dying, sick, didn't speak any English, wouldn't stop crying, and we were shipped. We got to New Mexico Juarez in the middle of the night, and there was nothing but holes in the ground. Okay, from those holes, there's other trucks that pull up, and those trucks will say, you know what? Then they talk about you like your packages, and I told you guys this before. You're either black girls, black kids are usually referred to as food of some kind. Usually, white kids are referred to as some type of furniture. Mexican kids are usually referred to as some type of product like retail. So when they get there, they usually say like, who's crying, who's sick, who's this, who's that, and that's which way you're going to end up going. If you're sick, you're more than likely going into the ground that you pulled up on. If you won't stop crying, you're more than likely probably going to head underground because you're never going to stop crying. If you have an attitude, they might put you with an escort because that means that they can train you. If you're quiet, you're cooperating, then they might sell you just for the night or for the weekend or for the week. They might return you, or they might send you to Russia or Dubai. When I figured all that stuff out and I figured what I was truly in, I started being nicer to my pimp because at this point I wanted to become his wife. When you become a wife of that person, probably what is similar to what his lane is, if you guys can stay with me on this. When you become a wife to your handler, that's out of all the girls that they have, out of basically the product of what they call you, out of what they have. So say for my pimp had about 36, give or take 46 girls all the time. So, and that's at minimum that I seen or that I would meet or that we would go to parties with. And when you have that many, one of them is your wife. When I say wife, this is when recruitness comes
Supervisor.
in. This is like the supervisor. Yeah. You are telling on everybody. If somebody is trying to escape, you need to let them know. If whatever you have to do basically to stay on top, so you're not the one that's getting put in the next shipping container, then that's what you have to do. So what I did is I was a little bit nicer, and after I was nicer, I was able to drive the car. I was able to go out into public. I didn't have to take my drugs as bad. I was able to walk into places. There's a lot of times where they drug you so bad that they will carry you into those places, get you dressed after they get you inside, and then leave you in the middle, so you have to deal with it. But if you're cooperating, then you're able to walk in yourself. If you don't have an attitude, if you're not fighting, if you're not crying, then you can basically kind of skip the process of being blindfolded and knocked out. So that's what I did. I was smarter about things, which meant I had to sneak out more. I was gone from 6 o'clock in the morning when I was supposed to be checking into school. I would get to school, people would check me out, and I would go with him. I would come back right before my bus gets there for school. I would get back to my foster home, and then I would leave right after dinner time, maybe 6 o'clock at night, and then return and do the same thing all over again. So like I said, I became a wife, and from there, you basically do higher jobs. You get your pick of your jobs. So when I say your pick, these are not little jobs. These are,
it's a backhanded.
It's a whole thing, and you know, and I'm okay. Can I get comfortable? Because I'm about to be real with you. The thing is, I used to hate myself. I still do. That's the problem. Okay, because I used to be like, how could anybody love me? How could anybody want me around their kids? How could anybody want me around them? Like, I used to be a hoe. When I joke about that sometimes, you know, a lot of people, I'm smiling, but I'm serious. It keeps me from crying. Y'all know that. When I joke about those things, I'm being serious, because it's like, you can't really live with yourself after those type of situations. And when you have to deal with somebody from Dubai, you get treated like you're a goat, literally. You get treated worse than an animal. That is like the biggest threat. If you are getting on your pimp's last nerves, they will say, I will slap you into Dubai, or I'll trade you, and say one more word, you're going to Dubai. That's like the biggest threat to a trafficker. I know you guys have heard the jokes like, oh, hoes can run fast in heels. Like, that's a huge thing. So when I say jobs, I mean, like, I hope you guys don't have anybody watching on this live with a faint stomach, because I'm just gonna be real, okay? When I say jobs, I mean there's a difference of going to a house and taking a photo shoot naked. And I don't just mean like cheese naked. There's a difference of, it's called a cuckold. There is a difference of going with the couple and having to do something with the couple while the other, like the husband, sits back and watches and masturbates. There is, see me? See? This is why I don't like to talk about this. There is, there's water jobs where someone is hurting you and they're drowning you at the same time. There are humiliation jobs where they'll take you in front of public, or they will put you in a warehouse and make everybody watch, or they will put chains around you and walk you around like a dog and make you stuff your face in the toilet or lick their shoes. There are jobs that are bondage jobs where you have to be tied up and you have to deal with getting hit or whipped or cut or waxed. And when I say waxed, I mean people dripping wax on you slowly and torturing you. So when I say jobs, I mean there's a lot of different jobs. I'm shaking, so I'm just gonna
when a lot of times when I post up and I'll say trafficking and worse, these are the worst that I mean. I think a lot of us, like if you would have asked me 20 years ago what trafficking is, oh, somebody just bought somebody for a sexual encounter, basic missionary sexual encounter, and trafficking is not that at all. It's like,
no.
And I think that's a lot of reasons why we're not so enraged with these children being trafficked, is because we're not understanding.
Another job is punishments. And that's when you get to pick your job. Either you get punished or you have to punish someone. And I mean beating the hell out of somebody. It's not just like, you know, this whole sexual, I'm going to spank you type of thing with the paddle. It's literally taking a whip and making sure that you catch blood from somebody. It's beating the hell out of them. Like, I can't explain that to you, and trying to make them stay awake. And then the second that they're this close to passing out, they cover your body in ice and they wake you back up. So when I say jobs, you guys have no idea what people are actually going through and what people have actually seen. There's also blood jobs. Those jobs, bloodletting. You go into a church, you dress up like a pastor.
Tell me about the churches.
Dress up like
what
a
kind
choir.
of churches do they go to?
Christian, Baptist, Catholic, anything.
After hours?
After hours. And you go to a church, you dress up, and you are whooped, you're beat, wax is thrown on you, there's hot water thrown on you, or there's blood drawn, there's blood baths. And if you don't participate in that, they will draw the blood from you, basically. So they're just jobs. So after I broke those down, now you get me. There's just jobs. Hold on 1 second.
And they keep track of all that.
And they keep track of all that
in hard copies.
In hard copies, exactly what they did to you. And that's the thing. How many people, if they run a train on you, if there's over 20, 30 people.
What's a train?
A train is another word, gangbang. Another word. The biggest thing is running a train, and that is about 20 to 30. Y'all need to stop falling. Yeah, there's a. I can't hold that. When they say a train, there's like 20 or 30 dudes on you at once, and not just dudes. There's females.
So for Ghislaine, they have a lot of information. They've gathered a lot of information. A lot of things have been outed about her, but they're still looking for some of these hard drives and some of this DNA. I suspect some of this DNA and the stuff on this hard drive is going to lead you to a lot of the big name kids that have gone missing.
Your blood is taken every day when you wake up. If you live in a kennel, if you live in a storage center, so your basic, I'm trying to look around right now because we're in warehouse buildings to see if I find one. Your basic warehouse buildings right next to you are more than likely a trafficking spot. Your basic storage places, that's it. Your basic storage places, like, you know, store your furniture for a few months because you can't do it in your house, are usually trafficking hubs, and they buy those places a lot. To hold their kids in. If you, I'm trying to find, I'm in industrial. If you find, if you look down into your neighborhood and you see kennels, like this right here, or kennels, shipping containers, warehouses, junkyards, those are the places that majority kids are held and people are held. And they rent those out, they keep them in there, they lock you in, and you're usually stripped down. You can't be in real clothes. You're not allowed to hold your hands in front of you. If anybody notices, I hold my hands or do certain things a certain way because I've just been trained not to do them that way. You are not allowed to hold your hands in front of you. You're not allowed to hold your hands behind you. They have to be at your sides. You're usually stripped down in a tank top or chonies. And your blood is taken every day. They check on your blood as well. They check on STDs. They check on AIDS. The reason why they do this is because when they're selling you to high escorts, or when they're selling you to someone who they don't want to make sick, they know they're people who are sick. They know they're people, their kids, or their product, what they call you. They know who's not doing well, who doesn't have that long left. And they will sell those to people who are selling for what? $300 an hour, $600 an hour. Then they sell those people to those kids. They sell those victims to those people. If your blood is fine, then they try to sell you to a high escort service. If they mix up and sell somebody that has AIDS to a high escort, then it's called like bad product or spoiled milk is what they call it. And that's when they have to snuff you, which means take you into
behind the red door. And they'll videotape.
And they'll videotape. They turn
rape you to death, basically.
Sex machines on. There's sex machines. And that's another thing. There are sex machines. There are full-blown, look like construction equipment sex machines. There are drills that have dildos attached to them, and they rape you with those until you stop breathing. And that's what snuffing is. So everybody used to, the big thing is everybody used to tell you don't go behind the red door. And if you were in trouble, like for girls that I was around and where I was, it was don't end up in the wheelbarrow. Which means that after they snuff you, they put your body in a wheelbarrow and they save those bodies somewhere first until the wheelbarrow fills up completely. They don't dump all of them at once, because every single day someone doesn't actually, what's the word I'm looking for, survive. If somebody snatches a little kid right now and takes them to where they are, and this little kid does not cooperate for the next 3-4 hours, no matter how you drug them, they have to kill them. There is no other way. You know what I'm saying? They can't move them because they won't stay quiet. So there's at least like 20 or 30 people when I was there that ended up in the wheelbarrow a day. I'm saying that again. A day.
How do they hide the bodies?
They don't.
What do they do with these dead bodies? Because why are people finding so many bodies?
Because, okay, so I am not a big fan of Halloween, and I'm not a big fan of those things like that hang at, what is it? You know, when they tie a grocery bag and they tie the thing around the neck and they make it look like a ghost. You know what I'm talking about? When you do Halloween decorations and you tie the body up and it's like you put 3 rubber bands on the bag so it looks like a dead body. Yeah. That's not a joke. That's why I don't like Halloween. They will hang you in a room from the ceiling in those bags, and they will walk girls through there to make an example out of you. So you can understand that if you don't do what they say, if something happens or something goes wrong, then that's going to be you hanging from the ceiling. There was a lot of times that with Keith it was different, with Aaliyah it was different, with certain pimps it was just did things a little bit different, but pretty much everybody does things the same. With Keith, there was a storage container that he had at a fast food restaurant. And I don't think I've ever really broke this one down for you. Yeah. Casey and a few of his friends, if somebody died or if something went wrong, they would stuff the bodies in that walk-in freezer until the freezer was full. There's a lot of there's a lot of places like McDonald's, Burger King. You would be surprised where you'd find bodies, a beach, a park, where people will stuff bodies and keep them and stack them up until they have to do something with them. Pimps don't usually think like, oh, I'm going to dump this body today and I'm going to put it somewhere. No, they will go back. They will make sure that they either cut it up, they will send it off. They have to go through your organs for sure, because the second that you die, they put you on your body on ice. And this was the horrible thing that I went through with a bunch of my friends. When I say I've seen a lot of babies die, when I say I have a lot of friends that I have watched die, and here goes the tears. No te know a lot of people, a lot of people don't understand that when they sell you, you're usually in a team, you're in a duo, and okay, say for it's, this is hard to explain, I'm sorry, one second. Say for it's, I'm just gonna use an example of me. I had a friend named Sapphire. We stayed together for the majority of our jobs. Because we played off of each other. We were always laughing. We were the only people that laughed together. So they'll stick you on jobs together for twosomes, threesomes, foursomes, group parties, orgies. They'll stick you with the same people, basically, because they know that you two are going to work together to get the money that needs to be taken. You know what I'm saying? If something happens, say for my friend, I had a friend, something happens and I don't agree with it, I do what I'm supposed to do, but they don't do what they're supposed to do, I'm in trouble too. Does that make sense? So what would happen is, if something happened to them, I had to witness it, because this was they were my responsibility. Does that make sense? There have been times where I didn't know that somebody was trying to escape. I didn't know that they were talking to somebody on the phone. I didn't know that they gave a note or passed a note to a clerk at a gas station. I didn't know these things, and I got in trouble. You get what I'm saying? So if their body gets cut up, if they get beat, if you're in trouble so much that they need to make an example and punish you with a stick or a staircase banister or a yardstick of some kind that you know you're going to bleed from, they will make sure that this person watches, the person that you're supposed to be with. So when I say that I've seen a lot of things, and I've seen my friends die, and I have friends that I represent, that's why my brand and the things that I do is called Worth More Than Diamonds. They give you each a name. I was called a diamond, and so majority of my job names, I was not my real name Tori, I was Ruby. And if I didn't answer to those names, if I didn't turn around to those names, if I don't answer whoever has me to those names, they will beat the hell out of you, basically. There is no, I am this person, I'm going to stay this person. They want to make sure that you will never be this person again for that moment. You can go back to whoever you decide to be when you leave that job. But as far as that job, at that moment, you are the person and the name that they give you. And if you don't do that, then it's your life and the person that you're always with, if that makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna shut up now with that. Okay. We have comments, so I'm gonna hold on. Did you ever think you would escape to safety? I think you're doing a great job. Information is so important at this time. You make it become a reality. Love you both. God bless you. Thank you. Hey, Candace. It's Candace. Okay. Did you ever... No. I used to tell my mom all the time I won't make it to 16. I won't make it to 17. I won't make it to 15. The biggest age I never thought I would make it to 16. It was 16, and I'm 26 now. So I I didn't think I would live to see a birthday. I never believed. I would tell my mom that all the time. Like, if I don't see you tomorrow, I just want to tell you this. And she'd be like, don't say that. And I'm like, I'm being dead serious. It's just, it is what it is. There were jobs. I've been put on planes. I've been shipped over country for the night. I've been put in containers. I've been put in cabinets. So, no, I never thought I would begin to get to safety. No. So now y'all see why I'm always like so happy and lucky to live now. So yeah, can I share this video? Yes. Yes. I just shared this and it is being removed. Oh, okay, perfect sense.
Blood. What else did they do with the blood? You said they take blood every day.
They take blood every day. They store it. They also test it. If your blood tastes good, is another weird thing. People are psycho. You'd be surprised what is a fetish. Okay? You'd be surprised people's sickest, craziest fantasies that they want to have with children, with certain objects and people. So sometimes they take your blood and that goes as like a profile. Does that make sense? Like a resume to the buyer. You get me? So there are people who are into blood. The way it smells, the way it feels, the way it tastes. It's very creepy. But sometimes they'll send that blood to whoever they're trying to sell you to. And for that, you'll get your answer back. That's when your bids come into place. See, you don't have a price. As a whole, you name your price. Okay? As a victim, you name your price. What you work for, you name your price. So, walking down the street and trying to jump into somebody's car, sometimes just $20, depending on what you're doing. A blow job, a hand job, you know what I'm saying? Let's be real here. $20, $30, $40. Give or take 60. So the hose that's walking street at night is not making that much money. Does that make sense? When you get a little bit higher than that, you go into photo shoots. You get a little bit higher than that, and you go into little videos that just go here and there. You get a little bit higher than that until you go into porn videos. You go into higher than that, and you go into escort services where you're in casinos. You get a dress. You get a beautiful dress. You look elegant. You look like a movie star. And the only thing that you need to do is move a suitcase.
Talk about that.
Boy. Suitcases. Becoming a wife is a little bit easier, like I said, with the jobs. Let's take Ghislaine Maxwell as an example. Okay? If someone found those ledgers that they're looking for, that means that all the underwater graves, all the graves, where they've been buried, what city, what state they've been flown to, this, that, or the other thing. If they found those ledgers, what's in... I had a whole car full, guys. I tried to bring to my mom.
This was... Yeah, I wasn't your mom then. I was your social worker, I think. And I had no understanding of this at all. So go ahead.
Yeah. I
Thankfully.
randomly one day called her and was like, Mom, I have everything in this car. Okay, I have my pimp's car. I'm only supposed to be gone for a few hours. I want to bring this to you. I had every folder, every fake passport, every fake ID that they had ever existed. Every syringe, every drug that they used. They used tranquilizers. They used spider venom. They used so much things. And I had everything in this truck. And I tried to bring it to my mom. My mom was like, nope. And she left. And thank God she did, because we would have been dead. There is no way possible that I would have got away with dropping that car off. We would have been dead. There is no police officer we could have talked to. There's no detective we could have talked to. I had everything in that car. And honest to God, if I would have probably turned it in, it would have probably looked like me. You know what I mean? So...
yeah, I didn't have enough understanding to keep her safe and to keep us safe. if I had that information now, I would do some damage with that. But at the time, my learning curve was way, way behind what it is now. And thankfully, I know both of us would have been dead right then, because I didn't know that we couldn't trust certain people. I didn't know I couldn't just take it to the police station at that point. I didn't know I couldn't just call the social worker and say, hey, we got a problem. So there was a big learning curve for me, but boy, I'd love to have that stuff now.
Yeah, so in this car, I had all this stuff, and I think it was that night that I traveled, I want to say, traveled, left for a few hours, got on a plane and left. I was dressed in this beautiful, luxurious dress, probably the most expensive dress I'd ever been in my life. My name was changed to Jessica, and I'll never forget that night, because I was going off on my handler, like, dude, I'm black. Like, come on now, you're really gonna name me Jessica? Like, come on, is anybody gonna believe my name is Jessica? you know what I'm saying? Do I look like a Jessica? So I was really upset, and he was laughing at the time, so I thought he was kidding. And I remember that night he beat me up so bad because I didn't answer to Jessica when they called my name and I had that suitcase in my hand. So he took me out there. I got to sit at a bar. And another thing is, I was a hustler. I'm just gonna say it now. Took some credit cards, some PIN numbers. It's very easy to get it off of rich dudes when they're drunk. So you get their bank account, you get their credit card numbers, you take a few credit cards, and there's a little bit of an extra feedback, a kickback for you. You get 10%. Bullshit. Sorry, I'm just gonna say it. You don't get shit, but you're told you get 10% of whatever you find on the credit cards or whatever you make at that night. At the end of the quota, you get 10% of your quota. So if my quota was $30,000 for the night, then I got 10% of that BS. I would get taken to the store. I'd get all these diamonds and stuff. Some of them my mom smashed, and and they would put me in all this stuff. But anyways, he took me out to a casino. I remember first we stopped at the house. The house had a pool in it, and I remember he got stripped down. They took all of his guns, his knives, and everything off of him. They literally told me to take all of my clothes off and jump into the water. Craziest crap I've ever been in my life. Okay, at this time, I couldn't swim. All right? I was a fish that drowned. So I jumped into this water. The water was green. There was cameras at the bottom that x-ray you to make sure that you don't have anything on you. You swim under the bar and you get to your hookup. Okay? From there, I was dressed. I was taken to the casino. There were dudes playing poker games. Very high-end people. Very rich people playing games. My pimp told me that we have a very important suitcase. If you're a wife, you'll sometimes get told what's in that suitcase. If it's seriously something that you can't know, they won't tell you. So I was told to take this suitcase and walk it from one side of the casino to the other table, and then from the table to the car. The reason for that is because if there's a rich person and they have a huge suitcase, you know what I'm saying, and somebody is constantly taking pictures of them, then people are going to eventually wonder what's in that suitcase. If anything, somebody might stop them and check the suitcase. So if you put it on a child, or if you put it on a pretty girl, nobody's going to ask you any questions. Do you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to high escorts, all you have to do is carry it. But I'm telling you right now, what you're carrying is just lives. It's lives. It's souls that you have no idea about. And when I found out, and I was not allowed to throw up in front of my pimps, it's just a thing, it would make me sick. There are times that I wouldn't be able to stomach what I found out. But you can't show that. Because if you show that you're upset, if you show that you feel bad, if you show that you're scared, it's a sign of weakness, and you'll be bumped back down. And they will take that ring from you, and they will take that title from you as wife, and you will go back into the kennels, and you will go back into the really, really gritty, dirty jobs that you don't want to be in. So this is why recruits, this is why there are going to be 20-year-old adults found. There are going to be people that you thought were dead. They are usually put underground. They are usually put in a home. They are usually married to somebody that you'll never see their face again, but you think they're dead. So there's a lot, but usually escort services are a little bit more riskier than what they seem. McDonald's, Burger King, that's a hot spot. You think if you're sitting at McDonald's and Burger King and you see an awkward situation going on, first thing sometimes people think about is foster care. First thing sometimes people think about is this is a visitation, you know, the dad had an issue and they didn't get them back. No, that is a switch. That is a trade-off. That is someone being exchanged. And the thing is when you walk into the place, they will get you a Happy Meal. They'll talk to you. They'll introduce themselves to you. And then your handler will tell you go over there and hug them or touch them. They want to feel your body against theirs. They want to check your hands. They want to look into your teeth.
Explain the
they
hands
want
and the
to
teeth. Yesterday I had posted the video of the little girl that they were filming, and the lady that was filming the video focused on her hands and made her turn her hands over and stuff. There's reasons for that. I'm gonna go ahead and tell them.
Yeah. We're sharing this video, so I guess we just get it off there, aren't we? Come back and try to take her phone and delete it. You don't know why, because you know I'm gonna get backlash for this. I'm just saying. I know I am. Your teeth. Your teeth are a big thing. Sometimes they put trackers in your teeth. They put a, you know how you brand cows, basically, to tell people that they're yours? Instead of putting a tattoo or a brand on your product, as they call you, they'll put something in your teeth. Or they'll put something under your skin. Or they'll tattoo you. Or they'll do something along those lines. Your hands, also your teeth tell your age. There's a lot of things with the teeth. Your hands, hands are big fetishes along with feet. So for lesbians, they check your fingers. For males, they just want you to have pretty hands, big hands, soft hands. There's millions of things they check your hands for. There's millions of things they check your mouth for too. How many times have you been sold? How big is your mouth? How many teeth do you have? There's a huge thing with sensory issues in dudes, I'm just saying. So I'll just leave it at that. But yeah.
And places that are fronts. Let's finish up with that.
Places that are fronts, yes.
The psychic shops are fronts.
Massage parlors, honestly, food places, clubs, U-Haul storages, YMCAs,
children's foundations,
many children foundations, missing kids. Chinese food is a big one. Chinese food is a very, very, very big one. What else? There's a lot. Truckers, big rigs, a lot of truck stations. Junkyards. Junkyards are a huge thing because nobody is looking for anything in there. It just looks like a bunch of junk. So nobody's going to go asking questions, searching, or trying to go look through it because it looks like a bunch of dangerous junk. You know what I'm saying? So junkyards are a big thing because what they'll usually do is they put junk in front of the kennels. So, go to a container park. When you go outside today, drive past your nearest junkyard, you'll sometimes see, because no lie, what will happen is this place will get set up, and then when the place gets busted, if there's a hint or a tip off that something's wrong, that place will just pick up and move. They'll move their kids, their girls, their boys, they'll move. And they leave their place because they come back to the places they left in rotations, if that makes sense. So if they were in a junkyard and now they have to go to a U-Haul storage, and then they're going to end up at a Chinese food place, and then they're going to go to a club, they're going to end up back in that junkyard eventually, and they'll leave the stuff there. So more than likely, the junk will sit spread around it, and then there will usually be a center spot. And how you'll notice is if you look on the ground, to take you outside, or if they're being nice to you, they'll tell you to do your chores. Kids will go out and play in the dirt, if that makes sense. You'll just go out and you'll kind of scoop dirt towards the kennel, if that makes sense too. You're covering the holes that's at the bottom, okay? The holes that are at the bottom when you're sleeping or Sometimes if you have to pee in there, it helps you. It's a big victim secret, but it helps you with making sure that you don't wet the sheets that's in there, or covering it if you know the bugs that are coming in through the bottom, because there's holes at the top and there's holes through the door on the side. So you can breathe through there, but when on the bottom where you're laying at, you'll wake up to things like all over you, or your pee all over you, or something like that. So if you look down at the ground and you kind of find there's a cleanliness that's right around the container, there's somebody in there. If that makes sense. I don't know how to explain that any other way. But yeah, we're gonna go now because I've talked about a lot, and you guys are gonna give me anxiety now this whole day, because not you guys, me, because I just said a lot, and now like when I get off here, y'all know me, I'm like, oh shit, delete it. But you know, I'll be fine. Let me answer some questions and then we gotta go. We have a lot of things to do. Candace, how long were you trafficked? Oy, that's a good question for a video that's getting shared.
By my understanding of the
by CPS reports, since I was a newborn. Yeah. By CPS reports. I don't remember since I was a newborn. I remember bits and pieces since I was little. But I was told that my pinky toe is broken. Everybody makes fun of my little ugly toe on my foot. But my pinky toe was broken, and I was told that was because of the things that happened when I was a newborn and from the CPS reports. So, yeah, to answer that question. Besides sharing online and bringing awareness to people, is there anything else you recommend us to do to help these kids who are being trafficked? Yes, I do. This is hard to say, but when you go into your next rest stop, when you go into your next McDonald's, the next time you're out, please pay close attention. Please pay close attention. There are tells of a trafficked girl. There are tells of a trafficked boy. There are tells of someone who's waiting on a pickup, a hookup, or a drop off. If you are at a rest stop, please don't just leave if you see something weird. Okay? It is very hard to deal with these pimps because they do get crazy. There are some where I've told my mom, like, you know, some I'll go after. There are some people in my life that I don't mind, you know, catching a case with, but there are some that are too dangerous, and you don't understand how crazy they actually are and how big it can actually get, and who they know and who else is in their circle. Okay? So I want y'all to be safe as well. If this ever happens to you, but I've been told that I've had a friend who's ran into a traffic victim in the bathroom at a rest stop, and she didn't know what to do, so she left her. And what I would ask you to do is go outside. First of all, talk to them, and don't talk to them in a way of, are you okay? Can I help you? Oh my God. Stay calm as much as you can. Even though the situation is scary, crazy, and whatnot, stay calm. Okay? Ask them questions that, if you feel something's not right, ask them questions like, be random with them. Oh, I just got my nails done. Like, do you get your nails done? You know what I mean?
What are they looking for?
You're looking for bruises on their fingers. You're looking for wedding rings. You're looking for, there's usually 3 dots right here by your knuckle. There's usually something right here by your wrist. You can compliment their hair. If it looks a hot mess, compliment their hair. If you compliment a victim's hair, they'll move their hair, because that's what you're told to do when your handler asks you about your hair. Basically, if you come into a room and if you come into a job, they'll ask you questions, and it's basically your tells to move. So a big thing is for them to do this, or move their hair to the side, or move their hair back. If they have a tattoo on their neck, or a tattoo that's going this way, it means they're in big trouble. Okay? If it's going down, that means something different. There's tells all over the place. Go outside, call for police, let them know that the traffic victim is going there. You suspect that there is a traffic victim, and they will be leaving the area in less than 7 minutes. Okay? They need to get there in less than 7 minutes. What you need to do now at this point is look around. More than likely, if they are by themselves, they have about a reign time of 10 to 15 minutes of their hookup to come, or their daddy to come back and pick them up and kind of suspect the problem. If they're waiting, sometimes the hookup is late. Sometimes they have to reconfirm another price. Sometimes they just ask for another price. So if you look around, they will be by themselves, but they're not truly by themselves. Watch out for the person that's on the phone. There will be usually a pimp that is standing on the phone, and he's not really on the phone. He's just making sure that she gets to where she needs to be. Usually they're looking down and they're watching them, and they'll give them heads up, and they'll give them things like, by giving them a chin up, they'll move their shoulder, or they'll turn around, and they'll wait for a minute before they turn back around. There's very, very many tells. So basically, watch for those. And McDonald's, Burger King, Wendy's, fast food places that involve kids are more than likely a trading spot. So if you're in a trading spot, pay attention to the conversation. It doesn't take a lot to tune everything else out and tune into another conversation. I don't know if it's just a part of my ADHD or a whole mentality, but I can hear everything that is going on around me. All right. So like, and my mom always asks me, like, we'll be somewhere, and I'm like, did you hear that conversation? And that conversation over there, I can hear everything that's going on around me. So just take a minute, calm yourself down. I understand that it's scary, but calm yourself down, listen to what's going on, and listen into the conversation. If someone is asking a kid what exactly do they like, which way they like to lay, weird questions, intervene.
It's better to intervene and be wrong than to not intervene and be right.
And another thing is if you look into the fast food restaurants that has kids, they make them hug them a certain way. It's not like a visitation issue with CPS. They'll make them hug them a certain way so they can feel their body and see what's going on as far as size and whatnot. That you'll be able to listen. Just look around yourself, because honestly, there are so many things that go on under your nose that you would be very, very surprised with. And if you would just take the second to calm yourself down and look around into your surroundings, you'd notice that there are way more things going on. And watch your kids. Please, for Jesus' sake, watch your kids. Do not let them walk behind you. Don't even let them walk on the side of you. Honestly, make them walk in front of you. I don't care how old they are. Make them walk in front of you. That is a big, big thing. They will take pictures of your kid, and they will take pictures of the area that you're in. If you are a local or something and someone is looking for shipment, especially that's coming up in October, they look for big shipments in October, for Halloween purposes, you are being watched. At all time, there is someone being watched, and don't think that it's not you.
They fill orders the same way you do products. They fill, if Joe Blow in Florida decides he wants a blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl, they're filling those orders. He's going to pay for it, so they're looking for a blonde-haired, blue-eyed little girl. So if that happens to be your kid and the first person sees them, they're going to be watching.
TikTok, social media, Instagrams, check your kids' things. Sometimes your kids think they're talking to somebody. They can be mad at you all you want, but at least you checked. You know what I'm saying? They can think that they're talking to someone else, and they're not. They're not. They're getting prepped. They think that somebody's asking them, like, hey, you know, I saw your friend the other day, blah, blah, blah. I saw their Instagram. Can you show me their profile, blah, blah, blah. Those are pimps. So just be very, very careful. Be very cautious. Be a little bit more cautious than you usually are, because trust me, you'll save a life. And if you don't save a life, if that life is already gone, you'll put a soul to rest. And that could be the best thing you do, even if you don't get to save a life. Okay? So stay a little bit more cautious. What's up, Christina? Christina Alves. Well, I've learned a lot in my field of work, and still you're sharing things that blow my mind. What broke? I love you, Christina. Michael, is it in rich areas of town or anywhere? Oh, yes, it is. Oh, rich areas are the worst. Rich areas are the worst because they treat it as a modeling career. They treat you as a singing career. You know, that was how things get introduced to me sometimes. Inquiries, yeah. And when I still act, you guys know that I still work for media stuff, is because I choose to. But when I do, there are ways. Like, I think my mom, when the Wayfair thing first came up, she showed me something, and I'm like, hey, something's not right about that ad. I didn't even know what it was.
I just showed her the first thing. If you've been in that, there's a way you know to read between the lines, pretty much, of what you're seeing, and she, like, picked right up on that. When she goes out to do auditions for things, she'll spend hours reading through the things, and she can pick up on whether it's a legit thing or whether they're requesting other things.
Yeah, so it is in rich areas. To answer your question, Michael, I hope that answers. It's in rich areas. It's in suburbs, not so rich. It is in the poor areas more than you think. Like, way more than you think. Like, we're sitting at a park right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a trafficking victim that will be getting traded out of this park in a few hours today. When I say that it is everywhere, every day, every few hours, it's all around you. So just be a little bit more cautious. And honestly, I wish I could answer questions to be a little bit more clear. There is so much, guys. So much. And it only takes 10 seconds for a year's worth of things to happen and to traumatize the hell out of you. So just please make sure that if you have any kids, nieces, nephews, educate them. Make sure that you let them know what's going on, because people introduce trafficking to you as sugar daddy, and it's now called sugar babies, you know, and people introduce you to that as like, I can help you with your college fund. I mean, all you got to do is send me some pictures, send me some nudes, you know, send me some cute pictures, or post this for me, and it turns into something more, and they have no idea what they're trapped into. So please just educate yourself. And like I said, you know, I'm scared. Yes, it's crazy, and I get backlash, but it does nothing to the souls that I know that can't rest yet. And that's where Halloween, that's where, you know, Day of the Dead, that's where, what else is it called?
Yeah, the
Fat Tuesday, Mardi Gras, that's where all that stuff comes from, where people say there are souls that can't sleep yet, because there are a lot of things that people have done and nobody knows. Nobody will ever know, because they think it's already over. It's been years. They've been on the milk carton for too long. There's no possible way they could still be alive. But you'd be surprised at what's about to come out. And you'd be surprised at who's alive right now and who is wishing that somebody just says one thing. Just talking to a traffic victim, if you suspect something, just talking to them will help them in some kind of way. Even if you can't literally, physically help them and take them out of that situation, they're going to remember you, and that is the best thing that you can ever do for them. When somebody just talked to me, it made me feel so much better. When I would get to shelters, when I first met my mom, I literally walked into the room and I just cried for hours. I didn't say a word to her. It just made me feel better that I knew I was in a room with somebody who actually had common sense. So do those souls a favor, do those lives a favor, and just do that favor for them, okay? And I know, and like I said, I know it's hard, but it's hard. Think about what they're going through, and think about how scared you are if you had to approach the situation. Think about how scared they are that they have to go back to the situation and still go through it, and no telling how long they've been in it. So we said we were going like a while ago, huh? Last questions. Thank you, guys, and thank you for your positive words. Thank you for your support. Thank you for listening. Thank you for educating yourself. Thank you for taking the time to just accept it in your heart, even if you don't believe it. You have no idea what it does for me when I'm able to say something and I can feel better about myself for 2 seconds, even if it is for 2 seconds, because sometimes when I hang up this live, it's just only for 2 seconds, and I'm like, I don't know what possessed me to do that. Like, so honestly, thank you, because the biggest thing is nobody wants to listen because it's too close to home, or it's too scary, or it's too good to be, it's too crazy to be true, or it's too psycho, or they don't want to think about that happening to their kids. And you have no idea what it does to just be able to say, like, I miss my friends, I lived through this, and I want to help them. Even though they're gone, you can still help, and you can still help so many. So we're gonna go. Bye, guys.
Bye.